Wilson's Fine Woodworking. Today we're going to talk about dado sets. Now, there are many kinds of dado sets on the market. Some leave not a flat-bottomed hole, but it's curved. Others, on the side, the cut isn't as clean, and it's a bit rough. The one we're going to show you today is absolutely square and the sides are cleanly cut. You can also buy a dial-a-width dado. Now, they are somewhat cheaper, but the problem with them is each time you want to make an adjustment, you have to take the nut off the saw and turn the dial and then try it again. And then turn the dial and try it again. And this is frustrating because particularly after you get it sharpened, it's not the same anymore. The one I'm going to show you is straight two-sided blade with chippers in the middle. And what sets it apart from all the rest on the market is that instead of having two chippers like that, it has 4 on each one. So you get a much smoother cut and it's a quieter blade. It does a really nice job. This Freud Super Dado comes in a 6-inch or in an 8-inch, and those are the numbers. And the really nice part about this particular one is, and it gives you this, there are 20 different widths you can do without adding any shims. So that's really nice for today's metric plywood. You can get really close or right on the money, depending upon the sheet of plywood. Now, the set comes with a set of shims and the 2 outer blades and a complete set of chippers with a 1/16 and a 3/32, as well as the 1/8-inch blades. And that's how you're able to obtain all these extra sizes. Now we're going to talk about installing your dado blade. After you've had it for quite some time and you've cleaned it and all the outside writing is gone, this will become more apparent what I'm about to show you. Some people get their dado blades on the outside installed backwards, left for right and right for left. This one is the inside blade, brand new, and how you look at it, if you look here, you see the teeth here, they point that way. And that goes on like so, so that it is pointing out. And that is the inside blade. Must point out. Then you can start stacking your chippers according to the thickness that you want. Now, when you stack these chippers, slide them on, make sure that you're not overlapping blades. You know, so the other blade is in between. Now, how do I know how many of these or which ones to choose? Well, you do that by looking at your chart. Okay, it gives you the size, the approximate size, and down below it tells you which one of these. In this case, I have to have 3 1/8 and 1 3/32. Got the third one going on here. And the last one. Now my other outside, I want you to notice this outside one points the other way. Okay, to the outside. And that's how you tell. One points to the right, one points to the left. And if you get them backwards, you get an extremely rough cut and it will overheat. Now, this spacer, the washer, quite often you can't use with a dado set when it gets so thick. So we have to set it aside. My particular saw, you can use 2 wrenches, which is really nice. You don't need one of those devices to keep the blade from turning while you tighten it. And you don't want to over tighten it. And of course, you need your dado insert. And you raise it up to what you think will be the right height. That's pretty good right there to start, to test it. You always have to test pieces, of course. And we'll be doing that in a second. Okay, now we're going to do a test cut. The dado is already loaded and tightened up, and I have the insert in place. Here's a sample. The plywood that we are using today is pretty close to 25-30 seconds. Okay, now you'll notice this is a sample, and I have a test pad to hold down on it to push it through. I'm wearing my safety equipment here, and I have to turn on the dust removal system. What I want you to notice is how quiet that was. A lot of dados make a lot of noise. That's because it has the extra teeth. Now, there's that piece of plywood and this piece of plywood. Too loose. Okay, well, we find out that's almost perfect. It could be slightly tighter. You see how there's a little wee bit of wobble in that? Very little. It's actually not bad. Now you could have it slightly tighter. The problem with making your dado tight is that there's up to 30 thou difference in the same sheet of plywood. And if you make it tight, and you go to put it together and all of a sudden one piece doesn't fit, you have to start over again. So having it slightly loose is better, because when the glue is in the bottom and you shove your piece down, the glue will squirt out and slightly up the side to give you more surface area for holding it. So that isn't bad, actually. After you have used your dado blade for a few times and you find it's getting some pitch buildup on the teeth, you can clean it. And we have a video online with the group of videos that we do have. Down the road, after you have cleaned it a few times, and it might be for some people 6 months away or a year away, you may want to get it sharpened. Make sure you get somebody who is really good at sharpening. When you sharpen it, however, it's going to change the overall size of the blade by thousandths of an inch. Maybe 2 thou, maybe 3 thou, maybe 4 thou each time you do it. And you'll have to add a shim to get the same thickness. And they provide the shims. Here they are. And they're labeled on there, hard to read, but for an old guy like me, put it like that, it's a lot easier. 4 thou, 8 thou, 12 thou, right up to 20 thou. And you can use one or more of them together. And they work quite well. Now, so you don't lose track of what you're doing, I keep a record like this. I draw a line and write in the thickness and what kinds of blades or chippers I used and shims each time. and it helps me speed things up the next time I go to do it, particularly if it's in the same week. The actual box, besides that showing all the thicknesses, that little graph, it comes with a video, and you may find that quite useful to watch. One of the problems with doing dados is the kind of plywood that you buy. You can buy Chinese plywood. It's a lot cheaper, less than half the price. The problems with Chinese plywood is that it has voids occasionally. That's just a small one. Some of them can be a foot long. Also, if you look here where I've circled, the grains overlapped on it. The pieces, when they glued it, overlapped. They weren't careful enough. And it's a good idea to have something like a dial caliper and to check the size of your plywood. I have a little piece right here. That varies as much as 5 thou in the same little piece. And this one, that varies 5 thou right there. It's 6 thou more actually, right where the overlap is. So this is the reason you can't have your dados super tight. Now, that's about it. Thanks for watching Wilson's Fine Woodworking.